Hey there, in today's video I'm going to give you a little tour of all the tools and options that you have in Silhouette Studio. I have the business edition. I'm going to give you a little walkthrough, a little tour, and give you an idea of how everything works. Not every single thing that I'm not going to show you. I'm just going to show you what I use and what works for me and what I'm familiar with. So let's get started. Okay, we're going to start on the left side, and these are basically like drawing tools to your left. And the top is like just general, how to navigate. And then to the right, you've got pretty much the same thing. Here's where you can make all your changes, adjustments, add and subtract. And I mean, you can do so much with this panel. I love Silhouette Studio. I think I'm biased because this is what I started off with, and it's just easy. It's super easy. You can create logos, you can create designs, you can bring in images and make changes to them, modify them, add to them. You can work on multiple images at the same time. I mean, it's crazy what you can do with it. So I'm just going to show you some of the things that I use and give you some examples. First, I'm going to start off with typing my name. And that way I can make some changes to it as needed. I'm going to come to the right and just make it, for some reason I use red a lot. I don't know why. Make it blue. I'm going to change the font. We'll get to these keys in a minute. Whoops. Let me find, just had it. We'll just go with that for now. So we're going to start on the left side. I have used this tool, the cutting tool, to like maybe splice or slice images or remove little pieces that I don't want. If you hold shift down, it keeps the knife vertical or horizontal. If you don't, you can cut at an angle if you need to. Let's say I didn't like the loop or the extra on the A. I'm going to click escape so I can remove it. That's the knife tool. If I wanted to erase something, to remove some more of that A, you can do that. Escape. I don't really use this tool, draw a note, but I mean, you could. You can, if you draw a note, just say last name or whatever you need to, or just little notes. Oops. Click on modified, whatever you want, and you'll just have a note hanging out there. I don't use it, and you can't minimize it or drag it. You can drag it, I guess. I don't know when or why you would need that, but it's there. Delete. I've never used this, so let's see if I can get rid of it. Great. I just highlighted the whole thing and deleted it, but anyway. And then here, of course, you saw where you can create type your letters. This pencil I don't really use. I don't even make my G's like that. I don't even know why I did that, but whatever, there it is. Escape. I guess if you wanted to do something with it, I mean, you have your kids draw on the screen or tablet or whatever. Delete. I don't really use, I think I've used this once. Click on the shape. Okay. And you can click on it and you can make a whole bunch of spikes or whatever that is, or less. Like a tornado. Escape. I'm going to delete this. Tornado Gina. You can also color it in. Move it to the back. Right click. Send it back. Having fun with the colors. And I'm going to come up here to drawing tools. If you click on the square and you hold shift down, you can make a perfect square. If you don't, you'll just get or you can make a rectangle or whatever you need. And then you can come back up here, do the same thing with a circle. You can work outside this area. You're not limited to just the mat. And here is a circle. If you hold shift down, you can make a perfect circle. If you don't, you can make your oval shapes or whatever you need. Escape. I don't really use this. I don't use that, and I don't use this either. Up at the top, you have you can click on new drawing. If you see this little tab, Untitled 1, see that plus? If you click on that, all that is just going to bring you to another mat. Here's where I was. Instead of doing that, you can click on this and work on multiple designs at one time. Let's say that I didn't want to type Gina again. I'll just go to my first. Move that. You can right click, copy, take it to whatever, right click, paste, take it to whatever other design you're working on. Here, you can open your files, but you can do the same thing up here, is file merge. And it takes you to whatever files you need, desktop, wherever they are. It's the same thing. See? And then save. It auto saves, but I have a habit, which I recommend you do the same, is I save everything, especially if I'm working on multiple designs. I just, out of habit, I just save, auto save. And here's your print. Printer, send to printer. I don't really use the clipboard, but that's the paste actually. And then this guy here, this is if you're working on something and you decide that you wanted something from 3, 4, 5, how do I say it? 5 steps prior. You can just hit the back arrow, or undo. I recommend that you do make a duplicate always. To say, okay, I like the way this looks, but maybe I'll try this also. Make a copy in case you say, you know what, forget it, that looks ugly. I'm going to stick to my original plan. Then you have your original. I highly recommend you do that. You don't have to hit this 150 million times. And then, I don't use that. This is select all. And another way, you can just highlight all. Or control all. It's the same thing. Control A, I'm sorry. And then the color palette I don't use because I come up here. And you can zoom in or out. You can use your mouse to do that. I like this tool here, this zoom in and out using the mouse. You just click on that, go in and out. Or if you're, say I'm working on a whole bunch of different things out here, which you can. I mean, you're not limited. You can work. Let's see. I'm going to control arrow down. let's say I have this full of, oh my gosh, so many designs and so many fonts, I can't make up my mind. You can do that. I'm going to click arrow down, put this way down here. Let's say I just have it full, I can't make up my mind. And I'm like, wait a minute, I know I have that font or that already in here somewhere. You can just go back. And then if you want to come back rather than keep hitting this, just click on this last icon, and it centers the virtual mat automatically. Okay, next we're going to talk about the right panel. I don't really use every single one of these, but I'm just going to go over what I do use, because that's what works for me. And as a designer, I don't really use some other options that are here, because you can create cards, birthday cards, I forget what you call it. Anyway, you can work on a whole bunch of crafting stuff with these rhinestones and everything else. But I'm just going to show you what I do normally work with. So I'm going to open up the setup panel. And the first icon on the page setup is where you set up your machine, or how you select what machine you're working with. And in my case, it's Cameo. You can also use Portrait, Curio, Cameo Plus Alta, which I think is a 3D machine. CE Light, I'm not sure what that is. The cutting mat, which is Cameo, which is this here. And it's set at 12 by 12. And you can actually use this little arrow up and down to change the size. Or you can type it in. Or you can use a slide bar. Every now and then I'll use that, but not normally. And then you can make it transparent if you need to line up whatever you're working with. Type in Gina again. Color it in. Come up here to the top left, and I'm going to make it transparent so there's no red background. Click on a little diamond, or if you want to make it black, see how the outline is black now. I'm going to leave it like that. Let's make it yellow. So here you can make this transparent. Let's say if you want to line it up. If you want your decal to be 2 inches, then I suggest using this, because if you look white, if you look at the measurements, they're totally wrong. Every font is different. If I was to print that or send this to the cutter, if I wanted to cut vinyl, I would be disappointed and mad because I wasted my vinyl, because it says it's 2.87 tall and 5.427. I would be mad because it would literally be smaller. See how I have it set at 2 inches on the mat, and it's saying that it's 2.87. You want to pay attention to that so you don't get pissed. Not that you will, I'm just being funny. But yeah, every font is different, so always use the cutting mat. Don't rely on this, because you see there's a gap. And this area here is a holding area. I design out here too. I'm all over the place, especially if I have a lot of fonts or pictures that I don't, if I'm making a collage or something. So anyway, back to this. Don't forget to click on this. Set your virtual mat or your image. Actually, you see how it's not showing the whole mat? It's only because I have the width at 7 and the height at 8 inches. It's not at 12. Remember, you can change it. And it's, click on that. I already have it set on 12 by 12. Just FYI, or a reminder. Okay, so again, you can use this, make this transparent to use the measurements or the ruler built in. And then you can make it, the orientation you can make, not even highlight it. Make this white again. Now this here, I don't know why you would want to rotate the mat. I don't understand that one yet. If you turn on the show the print border, I don't know why it's set there like that. Turn it off. Cut border is whatever size you made this. I don't know why you want to see that. The only time you want to see it is if you're gonna actually send it to the cutter. Here, this little print bleed. Whenever you send, if I'm printing on 3D Jet Opaque or even Easy Subly, because it's white, you want to turn this on. What that's going to do, if you don't have it set on print bleed, it's going to cut around. It's going to try to cut out around the lines, and a lot of times you'll see that it's going to have some white cut out. If you turn this on, it's like an internal offset. It's going to start cutting slightly inside your letters, or if there was a big image, it's going to cut inside the image just slightly, like an internal offset. So the second icon, which is the grid settings, I don't really use that, but just to give you an idea, show the grid. If you click on that, come down here, and you can put a whole bunch of squares in there. And that's just to help you, if you want to line up your images or your whatever you're working on. I don't use that. If you click on Snap to Grid, it's either going to go vertically, horizontally, or adjacent to what you're working on. See how, but it stays lined up. And then I don't even know what this is. Show guides. I don't know what that is. Now you see how it's easy for me to navigate. If you have less squares, it's only going to allow you to stay in those squares. I don't really use this, so I don't want to sound like I'm a dummy. Anyway, go to the third icon. I use arrow up and down, control arrow up and down, or shift up and down to accomplish that. So it doesn't really make any difference to me. Or I use the ruler on the mat. I need to turn off see how I can't go anywhere. It's snapping into place. I'm going to turn all these off. Now I can make my own adjustments. But if you want to use that, you have that option. Just turn on these snap to grid, and these guides. And then go back to the third icon, and that's where you turn your registrations on. If you're going to send something to the cutter, go back to the first one, make it transparent, or make it white. Go back to the third icon. So turn it off, turn it back on. This is what you need for the cutter to know what to cut. So the cutter will know what to cut. So remember keep this on, turn that on, and unless you have a wide format printer, like a 13 by 19, you can use these grids, but because mine, I only use a regular standard inkjet printer, 8.5 by 11 sheets, I need to make sure that this is set to 8.5 by 11. So here you also have to make sure, go back to the third icon. I'm glad I talk slow. You also want to make sure, if you look up here, I'm going to duplicate this just so I can show you everything I know. I'm going to control arrow down. I'm going to leave that as is. So as far as the length, see these registration marks? This is what the cutter is going to pick up when you send something to the cutter. I always make sure that the top for the length, see how it's getting small and big? I like to maximize my workspace. So supposedly you cannot be in this grid area. So because of that, I move this all the way to the left, and you see how it gave me more space. Another thing, the thickness, so watch this here. See how it's small and now it's thick. I keep this to the far right because I want to make sure that my cutter picks up these registration marks with no problems. And as far as the inset, keeping it on the grid. See the registration marks? No, who in the world is going to do that? Nobody. I don't even know why that's an option to move it all the way to the right. I put this all the way to the left, so now I have even more room to make, let's just say, more decals or cut more decals. I want to maximize, let's see, I'm going to move, see this little thing here? If you hold shift down, it'll snap if you go slow enough. Let go of the mouse and then let go shift. I want to see if I can fit another one. Arrow, control to the right, arrow to the right. I'm going to flip this around, holding shift down, so I can see how many I can fit. And look, voila, I can get 4 decals. And another thing, if you go back to the first icon, you want to show the cut border. You want to show the cut border because you want to make sure that you stay inside the cut border. This one's barely touching, so it's okay, but you can always move it down. You highlight the whole thing, and you click on this here, this box with this crosshair, it centers it. I mean, it barely put it in there. I was told that if down here, I was told that if you're in that grid or on it or inside of it, it won't cut it. I don't know. I've never tried it or tested it, but I always avoid it anyway, so I don't have to sit there and try to cut it by hand. So turn this on so you know you're inside the border, the cut border. I'm going back to the third icon, and that's pretty much it. So when you're working with the registrations and you're done and you're ready, let's say I'm working with vinyl because I'm making decals, this is going to go straight to the cutter here. I'm going to send it so I can cut it. And here's where you choose. See how everything outlined in red? That's what you want. Here's where you choose what what substrate or what vinyl you're going to use or whatever you're cutting. In this case, I would be using vinyl. Whoops. Drop down, scroll to the bottom, or you can move this down. I would be using vinyl glossy. Or if I wasn't, let's say I was using 3D Jet Opaque, I would have to send this to the printer first. Here, select my printer and print. Then I would turn around and send it to the cutter. And here I would select, you can still use vinyl matte, or you can go use printable vinyl. Click on, I think it's vinyl printable. Hold on. Yeah, right there. But here I'm going to, this is making decal. So click on glossy. Again, make sure that this is outlined in red. If it's not, you would make your adjustments in here. If you have multiple colors, you can turn off certain layers. And I only have one blade. And I have it set to cut. And then it says it's unavailable because I have it turned off. Here is where I would just click send. And of course, load your vinyl in. And just let it cut. So I'm going to go back to designs. And that's pretty much it as far as the page setup. Very basic, very simple. I don't use a pigskin. You already see what you can do with this. Let's pick Gina. You can use solid colors. You can use the second icon, the fill gradient. And I have a video on that. I think it's named called what is it called? Something with gradients. And you can use these if you wanted to use Jet Opaque or Easy Subly or whatever. Let's just say I wanted something cool on my shirt. Or come up to this third one, fill patterns. You can use that if you want. Same thing, 3D Jet Opaque or Easy Subly. You can get creative with these. If you can ungroup it. You can make another one a different plaid. If you like plaid, you can do that. If you like polka dots, you can do that. Okay, now it's getting boring. So now that's the color options. I don't use this the line style panel. This trace panel I use a lot to remove backgrounds. And of course, your text panel. This is for centering to the middle, to the left, to the right, vertically. This is to make duplicate or replicate. You copy one to the left, one to the right, one down, up, rows, columns, full page. I use Control arrow to the right to make however many copies I need. Down to the left, up, right, back down. That's how I do it. It's just quicker for me. And let's say I wanted a full page. I'm going to turn off this registration. Third icon, turn it off. Come back down to replicate. So let's say I wanted to make a full page of A's. Just click on fill page. I don't know why it's going sideways. Let me turn off the cut border. Complete print. I'm going to hit shift and click on that first one, and I'm going to delete the rest. I'm going to hold shift again and rotate the A. I'm going to try that again because I don't feel like it should have done it the way it did it. I don't know why it's doing it that way. I think it's going, I don't know. Anyway, so you can fill the page. And then here you can mirror. I always use object mirror up here so I can do it vertically or horizontally. Select object mirror. You can use that, or you can use here this, but it's gonna also replicate it. I never use that. Another thing you can do is you can rotate copies. I don't know why. I mean, it's not for the alphabets, obviously, but if you're working on a crazy project, you can do that. Let me click this one here, see what it does. It's a cool design, but it's not a design, or it would make a cool design. All it is make a whole, if you're working on something crazy, you want your initials all over the place on something, you can do that. I'm going to highlight all of these, just keep one. Flip it around. I'm going to rotate it. And that's what you can do with the replicate. Modify, the next icon down, that's where I subtract and divide and crop and intersect images with other images. And I do have videos for that already. Everything else, I don't really use rhinestones and all that. I do use the warp tool. Type Gina. I'm going to select this and I'm going to hold control down, see a little pencil. Change that to match it. Delete. I'm going to go to the warp tool down the last one, or third to last. You can use tumblers. You just have to type in the size so that Gina can look. If I was to print that or cut that, put it on a tumbler that's like this, that's tapered, it won't look right. So this helps you to, I'll show you. I only use it one time, but let's see. So, see, I'll show you in a minute. Let's say that it's very tapered. You can, let's say I have a shot glass. Let's say I have a giant shot glass. You see how I adjusted Gina? So when I cut it and I put it on there, it won't look all distorted. It'll look perfect, just like that. So back to warp. Delete that. I'm going to arrow back. Okay, so now I'm going to use the warp tool. So you can do it this way, do it that way, do this. That would be good for like a cap. And you can even adjust it. I wanted it to look a little better, a little taller. Do that, and you're done. That's pretty much it. I don't use all the other tools because I spend more time designing rather than making like little crafts. But anyway, that's what I wanted to show you. I hope that gave you plenty, and I hope it wasn't confusing. So if you have any questions or comments, please put them below, and I will get back to you ASAP. That's all I have for now. I hope you enjoyed this video. Until next time.